latest on our big story tonight, the former FBI director's testimony. The president's team is now interpreting James Comey's comments.
While Comey says he hopes there are tapes of his private conversations with the president. Our political specialist Sean Boyd here with Comey's testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee. Boy, the nation was watching.
Yeah, well, this is the first we've heard from James Comey since he was fired, and he held nothing back, accusing the president of smearing him and the FBI. He testified for nearly 3 hours, and in the end, both Republicans and Democrats on the committee seemed to agree the president had done some things that were clearly inappropriate, but weren't illegal. Former FBI Director James Comey went before the committee and accused the president of lying, saying he was fired because of the Russian investigation, not his performance.
The administration then chose to defame me and, more importantly, the FBI by saying that the organization was in disarray, that it was poorly led, that the workforce had lost confidence in its leader. Those were lies, plain and simple.
Comey says he took notes of every private conversation he had with the president because he worried he might lie. And in a shocking revelation says he leaked some of his notes to the press to prompt the appointment of a special prosecutor.
So you didn't consider your memo or your sense of that conversation to be a government document?
I understood this to be my recollection recorded of my conversation with the president. As a private citizen, I felt free to share that.
He says the president asked for his loyalty and pushed him to let go of an investigation into former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn.
I hope you can let this go. Now, those are his exact words. Is that correct?
Correct.
You may have taken it as a direction, but that's not what he said.
Correct.
When a robber held a gun to somebody's head and said, "I hope you will give me your wallet," the word hope was not the most operative word at that moment.
Comey says the president later urged him to investigate any associates who may have done anything wrong. He says he told the president repeatedly he was not under investigation, but says he did not tell him his requests with regard to the Russian investigation were inappropriate.
I was so stunned.
The president let his personal attorney respond for him. He denied the president suggested Comey let any investigation go or that he needed loyalty from Comey, and questioned Comey's motive for leaking his notes and whether Comey should be investigated.
It is overwhelmingly clear that there have been and continue to be those in government who are actively attempting to undermine this administration with selective and illegal leaks of classified information and privileged communications. Mr. Comey has now admitted that he is one of these leakers.
So, Sean, where does this go from here?
Well, the investigation by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, that continues. His findings will be most telling. But Colorado Republican Congressman Ken Buck, who was a federal prosecutor for 15 years, told me no one would be prosecuted in a case like this.
I've had many conversations with people as a prosecutor where people tell me, you know, this is a really good guy. I hope he didn't do that. And we investigate and we find the facts and we go forward with the facts. And I'm sure the FBI is not going to be influenced by someone saying, a friend of a target of an investigation, saying, I hope that this doesn't happen.
But Democratic Congresswoman Diana DeGette says we need more information. She says, quote, what remains unclear is the full extent of the administration's attempts to sway the FBI inquiry and the extent of Russia's influence on our country's politics. It's interesting that Comey commented on that influence today, saying there is no question Russia interfered with our election and that they will be back.
Wow. A lot of agreement on that these days. Sean Boyd, thanks very much.